The first night I rolled through the gates of Lakeview Estates, I thought I was leaving behind chaos for peace. Instead, a Lexus SUV slammed into the front of my truck. The HOA president screamed that I attacked her, and then right there under the drizzle, she clawed her own wrist raw and live-streamed the assault to the entire community. My body camera caught every second. That was the moment I realized I wasn't just moving into a neighborhood. I was stepping straight into a war. I'd just come off a 14-hour shift on the interstate, still carrying the smell of burned rubber and leaking fuel on my jacket. All I wanted was a shower, maybe a cold beer, and silence. The streets were slick that night, the sodium lights reflecting off the rain. Lakeview Estates looked perfect on the outside, manicured lawns, identical mailboxes, rules for everything from hedge height to porch lights. I didn't move there for the rules. I moved there for the lake. Or so I thought. I slowed at the gate to swipe my access card and saw it pearl-white Lexus broadside across the entry, blocking the keypad like it owned the road. At first I thought she'd broken down. Then she stepped out. Veronica Kane. Tall, blonde, twist-of-hair raincoat, cinched, tight umbrella closed at her side like even the drizzle respected her. She didn't wave for help. She just planted herself, chin-sharp hand on her hip, glaring like my Ford F-150 was trespassing. I rolled down my window. "Evening, ma'am. Need a hand?" No answer. She tilted her head toward the gate like I didn't belong. I asked again if she could move forward so I could reach the keypad. That's when she jumped back in, slammed the door, threw it in reverse, and bang shot forward. Her bumper clipped my brush guard, rattled my steering wheel. Before I could process, she stormed out and barked, "You slammed right into me!" Her voice cut through the night like a knife. I'd been a cop long enough to recognize when someone was performing. She whipped out her phone and announced, "I'm live streaming this to the HOA page." Within seconds, porch lights flicked on, curtains twitched. Lakeview had its audience. Then she shouted for Derek and Carl, two thick-shouldered enforcers I'd later come to know all too well. They approached with flashlights like clubs, their eyes hard, waiting for orders. And me, I just stood there, Bodycam quietly recording every second. Veronica declared herself HOA president, accused me of ramming her Lexus, jabbed her finger at my truck, demanded I pay for damage and move out before morning. She said it with that brittle smile I've seen on people drunk with authority, the smile that says, "This is for your own good." Then right in front of the lens, she dragged her fingernails down her wrist until blood beaded and screamed. He grabbed me. I didn't move. I didn't speak. Derek flinched forward, ready to play his part until I told him, calm as stone, "Careful. You're being recorded." His eyes flicked around, searching for the camera he couldn't see. Veronica went on narrating her own little courtroom drama, pointing to puddles knocking her fender for sound effects, calling me a threat to children. Behind the glass of nearby homes, I could feel the neighbors' eyes watching but unwilling to step in. By the time I drove through the gates, her two henchmen circling her Lexus like it was a crime scene. One thought settled heavy in my chest, so much for peace and quiet. That night in my still unfurnished house, I found a folded note slid under my door. The handwriting was rushed, rain-smudged. I saw what she did. I recorded it. "Be careful. They don't like strangers. CB." I looked out across the street, caught a faint glow from a laptop screen, and understood someone else knew the truth, but fear had them hiding behind blinds. The next morning, I got my welcome package from the HOA, a violation notice taped to my mailbox. My unapproved vehicle had been parked overnight. Fine, $250, the only vehicle I owned. And when I checked, there was a fresh gouge on my mirror that hadn't been there before. Too high for the curb, too low for her bumper. Someone had done it on purpose. Later that day, a plastic bag of crushed beer cans and greasy wrappers appeared in my yard. Minutes later, Veronica posted on the community forum, "Disheartening to see litter piling up. We mustn't let careless newcomers spoil our neighborhood." I stood there holding that bag of garbage and realized I was being set up piece by piece. For a while I wondered if maybe I'd made a mistake moving here. Maybe it wasn't worth it. Every time I stepped outside, neighbors averted their eyes. The Marine veteran across the street polished his red Mustang, never once nodding back. I caught myself thinking, maybe I should pack it up, sell the place, start fresh somewhere else. For the first time in years, I doubted myself. But then came Chloe Bennett. She left me another note, then met me by the lake bench after dark. Hoodie up, hands trembling as she passed me her phone. On it played the full video, Veronica's Lexus lunging forward, Veronica scratching her own wrist, Derek and Carl circling. Every second captured from Chloe's upstairs window. "She won't stop," Chloe whispered. "She never does." And in that moment I stopped doubting. I had proof, and I had someone brave enough to stand with me. From there the pieces fell into place. I noticed a plain white box truck slipping into a supposedly vacant house at 2 a.m, unloading unmarked boxes. I called up an old buddy, a forensic accountant. He flipped through the HOA's financials, $50,000 for seasonal flowers, $80,000 for camera maintenance. All payments routed to Kane Construction Services, a shell company. Veronica wasn't just running a petty HOA dictatorship. She was laundering money, maybe worse. I reached out to Deputy Sarah Jenkins, my old partner. Together we gathered it all. My Bodycam footage, Chloe's video, hidden camera clips, Ben's financial findings. We got warrants. And then we waited for the right night. It came in the rain like it always does. Around 10, I eased my truck down the street, giving the signal. And right on cue, Veronica's white Lexus slid out broadside, blocking me again. High beams cut the road in half, her silhouette rigid behind the wheel. She stepped out, phone raised, red light blinking. "You're not going anywhere," she shrieked. "I have you on camera stalking me. You're finished in this neighborhood." Neighbors peeked from blinds. Porch lights blinked on. Derek and Carl came running from the clubhouse, flashlights in hand. It was a stage, and Veronica was playing queen again. But this time the stage was mine. I tapped my Bodycam, brought up the footage, and hit play. Her Lexus crashing into my truck, her scratching her wrist, her voice shrieking lies. The sound spilled out into the damp air, echoing off houses, bouncing across the lake. For the first time her confident smile cracked. "Mr. Harlan," the old man with the cane called from the sidewalk. "Looks pretty clear to me, Veronica. We all saw enough." And just like that the crowd shifted. Murmurs, nods. Witnesses. Not extras in her play anymore. Veronica snapped. She spun Dove into her Lexus and rammed my truck again. Harder. Metal crunched, glass shattered. Gasps erupted from porches. I stepped forward, voice steady. "Veronica Kane, you're under arrest for assault with a deadly weapon on a law enforcement officer." Within seconds, unmarked vans and patrol cruisers rolled in from both ends, red and blue lights cutting through the drizzle. Sarah Jenkins stepped out calm and commanding. Deputies swarmed, cuffed Veronica as she screamed, "I am the law here. I'm the president of this community." Her words cracked into desperation, echoing hollow against the rain. The so-called vacant house down the block was raided. Inside, stacks of stolen electronics boxes tied to a regional cargo theft ring. Her husband Richard was let out in cuffs minutes later. Derek and Carl spilled everything, how she'd ordered them to plant trash, scratch cars, stage photos. Neighbors who once hid behind curtains now stood in their driveways watching the Queen of Lakeview dethroned. I stood there, rain dripping from my hat, staring at the fresh dent in my F-150. Another scar for the truck, another story burned into steel. But this one ended differently. For the first time since moving in, I felt the weight shift. She wasn't untouchable anymore. And that's where it ends. Veronica Kane in cuffs, her empire of fear collapsing under the glow of cruiser lights, the neighborhood finally seeing who she really was. Power built on fear never lasts.